This is our meeting before the competitions coming up. So we got Saturday, July 1 is the USA Powerlifting Meet, Canal Winchester, Ohio. And Sunday, July 2, USATF Track and Field Meet, Geneva on the Lake, Spires Institute. So I'm going to start with addressing the information for the power sports athletes first. I'm going to go over all that. Make sure that if there's any questions that you ask them. We're also going to review the email that they sent, so we can go over that together. Make sure we're all on the same sheet of music for this actual meet coming up. So I will be sharing the screen. So we're going to go over some rules. We're going to review the email. I do want to touch on being a true sport athlete. So I'm getting some feedback from people. I just feel weaker than I did when I competed last year. It feels like my weights aren't as high as they were last year, blah, blah, blah. Well, that is to be expected. So when you go from being a one sport athlete to a two sport athlete, there's going to be strength levels sacrificed, especially if you're doing some endurance with track, and then you come over and you're doing power. That's a totally different set of muscle fibers and activity and so forth. Once you condition yourself to choose sports, then the body will readapt. But right now it's readapting. It's starting to adapt to being a two sport athlete. Some of you are stronger in some things and then weaker in others. It's happening to everyone. It's okay. It's normal. There's a lot of energy leaving your body with two sports, and you can't judge it. It's very much like the water that leaves in a house. Toilet flush, sink is on, bathroom sink is on. Somebody, let tons of water out of a tub. So all that energy is leaving at the same exact time. That's going to impact you, and that's why it's so critical for your meals to be recovery meals. So we're going to go over that as well. So there has to be a certain amount of glycogen in your muscles in order to move heavy weight. And then there has to be a certain amount of glycogen that has to be in those same muscles and liver when you're actually running or race walking an enormous amount of distance. So I'm going to review that stuff. So we're going to go over the type of refueling that's necessary that is sports nutrition. Now, every meal plan that we put in the app, it's completely aligned with sports nutrition. It's aligned with what athletes need based on the timing where we are. If we have to make weight, we have to lose weight. If you are already currently at your powerlifting weight, then you just have to make sure that, every 2 or 3 days you're getting on the scale, making sure that you're staying at your weight number so it doesn't get out of control and you don't see it. If you've got to make weight, I like by next Tuesday, so a week from today. I've got everybody on carnivore right now. Now, a thing I want to tell you about carnivore, it's really the main thing on the carnivore. It's the first 3 to 4 days of the week are just pretty strict meat, fat. You could have pickles, onions, olives, red cabbage, mushrooms. So those 5 things don't have lectins in them, number one. And they don't really cause a lot of water retention and bloat. So there should be some pretty good results that happen on the carnivore meal plan. Then if you add in a salad or some extra vegetables when you get towards the weekend, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, then you still have so counterbalanced with so much meat and protein and fat. The vegetables shouldn't have too much of an impact on back to water retention. So that's one of the main reasons to get on carnivore. Another reason for carnivore is to get out of a sugar addiction or a carb addiction. And so because it starts to go into making your body get fat adapted because you're not eating a lot of vegetables or glycogen. Glycogen levels go down, makes your body go after fat, more stored fat. So there is science behind that actual meal plan, but Some people don't feel very well on it, or they're like, oh God, I can't just do this. Well, again, you make omelet, and you put mushrooms in it, and some onion or whatever, you should be okay. I didn't really say anything about condiments because I'm not really concerned too much with condiments, especially if it's a high fat condiment, that's perfectly fine. Try not to do like a high vegetable condiment like a salsa. Red hot, yes. Salsa, no, in those first few days. So it's a fine balance of feeding your muscles so you can actually lift heavy, but then also trying to actually drop weight at the same time. If you drop a large chunk of weight, as an example, we'll say Dylan dropped a lot of weight in a short amount of time, that absolutely will tear into lean body mass and muscle. So the muscle magazines are infamous for their bullshit lies. When they use nothing but steroid bodybuilders on the covers and steroid bodybuilders with all the products, and then they tell you that you can get lean and grow huge. How? Those are completely polar opposites. It's not possible. So I never tell powerlifters, oh, you're going to get lean while we're powerlifting. That doesn't match powerlifting. In order to move an extreme amount of weight, there has to be glycogen inside the muscle. Okay. So if you're eating very low calorie or extremely low carb, and you don't eat either a sweet potato or something right before your workout, so the glycogen goes right back into the muscles that's been burning up, then there'll be nothing to push the weight with. And so then you're going to feel weaker. So you have to really get the concept here about glycogen. So that's why I want to review that. So I'm going to go into share screen and open that up because all athletes need to understand this about glycogen. And then we'll move on to some more info. Okay, so refueling. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up by somebody that you can actually see the screen? It says, what are the basics of recovery nutrition? Chris Horst, can you see it? Okay. Good. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. All right. Refueling. So there's just a couple parts on here that I want to review with you guys. I'm going to go slow. So recovery is the most basic form as a return to readiness following a workout or your competition. So a return to readiness. That's what recovery means. What does the body need to do to recover? It has to sleep really good. And it has to have carbs to go back into the muscles and the liver, which come in the form of sweet potato, root vegetables, and actual vegetables and fruits, and then protein. So if you're off in any way, if you've really reduced your calories a lot, all that, then recovery is going to take longer to happen for you. You're going to say, I feel so weak. 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 Or, oh my God, my strength is so much less than it was this time last year. Well, you always have to look at, well, what's happening with the recovery? What's going on with the nutrition that's going in your mouth? It's all comes down to what's going in your mouth. So it goes in your mouth and it turns into something in the body. So next thing. So we got refuel, repair, rehydrate, rest. That's what recovery is all about, to feel stronger. You have to eat enough macros, especially carbs, micronutrients, and prioritize energy intake in general. Eat enough protein. That's where the repair comes in. Obviously, drinking water or electrolytes. And then you have to sleep. So if you're sleeping poorly because you're burning a lot of body fat, that happens to me. Like if I'm fasting, I just am wide awake, 4 a.m., not sleeping well. Because you don't have to sleep a lot when you're fasting. So I'll end up falling back to sleep, but that is a disruption to my sleep because my body's burning fat. So it's waking me up in the middle of the night while it's burning stored body fat, and that wakes me up. All right, so let's go to the next thing. So this part is when, what, and how much. And then why. So why should you eat for sports nutrition? So I'm just reviewing sports nutrition with everyone.
Why are all the lights off?
I just didn't turn them on.
Okay.
Is it too dark? You can turn them on.
It's pretty dark.
Okay, you can turn them on. It was blinding towards my screen.
Oh.
So the why. When exercising, we are breaking down muscles and using our fuel stores. I think it's okay now. Yeah, the sun on down too. So you're breaking down your muscles when you work out, every single workout that you do, and then you're using up all the glycogen that's stored, which is about 2,000 to 3,000 calories. We have about 2,000 to 3,000 calories. Let's just call that checking account, and that is easy spending. So that's in the muscles and it's in the liver, and it's used by the brain and the muscles. So this is called a catabolic breakdown process. So every time you work out, frisbee golf, do a sport, doing all your mulching, 5,089 pounds of mulch being moved over a few days. That is a catabolic process, a breaking down process. Recovery is we are doing the opposite. You're in repair and replenish. And this is anabolic. So that's why they're called anabolic steroids. So an anabolic steroid means it's building and storing glycogen, creatine, all that stores in the muscle. So that's why bodybuilders that do gear steroids, the ones that do gear, they can go to the gym multiple times a day. They heal so much faster. They're not really sore the next day. So they go to the gym pretty much double or triple what a typical person does. So that means they're building and repairing so much quicker than a typical Homo sapien does. So they're using the urine of another animal that's very fast twitch, like a bull or a horse, and they're shooting that urine in their body and convincing their body with the drug and the urine of another animal, I need you to repair me faster. I need you to get anabolic quicker than the way a Homo sapien does. All right, so now, why does the body need to quickly go into an anabolic state? So that's big why we are big into saying, okay, what protein shake do you want? Right after your workout. Okay, what shake do you want? So what are you eating when you get home? Make sure you have steak at least 2 or 3 times this week, because we know exactly what you've done in your workouts. You've done so much tear down. It's time for red meat. It's time for some good fish, whatever. So that's why we're asking questions like that, because we're thinking about your recovery process, your anabolic state. So primary importance after exercise is glycogen replenishment. All right, so a protein shake, got some carbs in it, got a little bit in the milk, that's glycogen replenishment. It's going in, got about a 2-hour window. So you got a 2-hour window after you work out that you want to replenish all that. Glycogen acts as a central glucose repository that the body can access when it needs it again. Muscle glycogen acts as a local storage site for working muscles. So when you have a protein shake or protein cookies, or you eat a sweet potato right after your workout or something like that, it goes right into the muscles and in the liver. And if there's too much excess, which we're about to see what excess means, then it's going to turn into body fat. But if you just worked out real intense, you've got to replenish all that stuff. So muscle glycogen acts as a local storage site for the working muscles. On average, there are 100 grams of glycogen in your liver and 400 in the muscles. The body's glycogen store is about 2,000 to 3,000 calories of energy. So even though I said, you heard me say 100 grams of glycogen in your liver and 400 in your muscles, that's about 2,000 to 3,000 calories that are in there, that are stored in there, that the body's going to use when it actually needs to work out or whatever. But let's say that you didn't eat much all day, so you burn up all your glycogen stores pretty much, or you walked for 70 minutes, you definitely started to burn through it, then you came and tried to do powerlifting. There's no glycogen stores in the muscles. They're just like getting stuck. They can't fire. There's nothing to move them. Protein does not move your muscles. Protein is for repair. So I'm very big on asking certain people, what you eat, what you have. I'm looking at your performance. I see exactly what you eat based on your performance, if you can do it or not. Okay, so this is pretty good information right here. Glucose utilization by the working muscle can go up by 10-fold during exercise. And yet, after 1 hour, glucose is maintained at 4 grams at the expense of these muscle and liver glycogen reservoirs. The amount of glucose in the blood can still be constant after 2 hours of exercise in well-nourished athletes. So well-nourished athlete. So if the athlete is eating or snacking the whole time at the powerlifting meet, what are you eating? What are you eating? Why are we so on your shit? Because as you can see here, the amount of glucose in the blood can still be constant after 2 hours of exercise in well-nourished athlete. So when you're lifting between 3,600 and 6,500 pounds in a full day of powerlifting with your warm-ups, your practice, and your actual lifts, you're burning massive amounts of calories and causing a lot of damage. That's why we're big on, are you snacking? Are you snacking? What did you eat? What was the last time you eat? What time did you just eat? You got to keep constant nourishment for those, all the hours that you're actually lifting. You'll be doing the same thing with track, just in a different form, but it's still the same thing. Because even being out in the sun and sweating like crazy, you're dropping your glycogen like crazy when it's hot out. So hopefully you're understanding what I'm saying here. Tapping into these stores is important for exercise performance, but depleting these stores prematurely may cause premature fatigue or a drop in glucose leading to hypoglycemia. That has happened to powerlifters. Can't even lift the weight, can't pick it up, just picked it up in the back, but you went from the back and you warmed up. By the time you walked up to the front to compete, you already burned all your glycogen up. So you should have been snacking the whole way up to the lift. If you did a pretty intense lift in the back room, in the warm-up area. So that's how fast you can drop your glycogen and go right to hypoglycemia. You're not going to pick up anything, as Brittany can tell you about her squat.
Yeah. And the amount of carbs that your body needs to prep for a powerlifting meet, especially if you're trying to make weight, which is why for most of you moving forward, we make you make weight far before the meet, because if you have to do cardio and sit in the sauna and dry fast, that was 4 to 5 days of total depletion. Now, the plus side, I looked like I was ready for a photo shoot and to get on a bikini stage, which is why my bikini picture is out on that kiosk selling protein powder. So that was the silver lining of that. However, looking great on stage and having visible abs is not what you want for powerlifting. Nobody fucking saw my abs that day. They're just on that picture. But they look fabulous, but that much depletion looks fabulous. And then I was shocked the amount of carbs I needed to eat. I could not possibly eat that many carbs. I was so fucking full. I was literally going to sleep, slanted up on a pillow, burping up chicken and pasta. And then Todd was like, you didn't eat enough. I told you, you didn't eat enough. And I was like, I literally physically couldn't eat more. I had an entire plate of pasta, chicken breast, and I was so full. I was burping it up. It was waking me up as I was trying to go to sleep. It was so gross. And then I woke up and ate 2 giant
muffins.
Muffins that I made that had oats in it. It had banana in it. It had chocolate chips, and I doused them in at least half a cup of maple syrup, probably more than that. I ate 2 of those, had a protein shake, and
I think your first lifts were okay. It was by the time you got to your third squat.
Squat was
correct?
correct.
Was it the third squat then?
No, the first squat felt like shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't feel any support. And the first squat was shit, and I didn't know if I went low enough. And my squat suit was too loose, and my belt was too loose, and I couldn't feel if anything was firing. And I actually pulled a muscle in my back on the very first squat.
Oh,
because I didn't have the body awareness from just feeling so out of it, not having enough glycogen.
Yeah.
So that is how depleted.
So there was some hypoglycemia going on.
Like if you're attempting to make weight. So then I needed to go to the back, eat protein cookies, eat Cheerios, eat pure sugar candy. I was eating Sour Patch Kids. And then after like another 2 hours of just nonstop, every opportunity, putting pure sugar and white bread carbs pretty much in my mouth, then I could finally get enough strength to feel my body for bench press. And then I was on it for deadlift and got the national record because of that, and did truly PR. It lifted the most of my life. So, but don't underestimate when you're depleted, how much it takes to replenish up all of that.
To replenish.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So when you're saying the things about calories, like I probably had to eat about 300 calories just in carbs.
Oh yeah.
To even, get to the deadlift successfully.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of fucking calories. Then Todd was like, well, what would we do in retrospect? I'm like, well, should have had a protein shake, and then like went straight to French fries and ice cream. Like we literally should have brought non-dairy ice cream, and I should have like made an ice cream fucking sundae and started off my sugar rush with that.
Yeah.
And then added some French fries on top.
Yeah. Got you. So, some of you, I know who you are, who that I'm talking about. You get so panicky over foods and scared and petrified, and we're not telling you to eat like that ever on a normal basis.
Right.
There's just a need for a very instant, very rapid absorption of a glycogen. And so that's why that day when that happens, if you try to say, oh, I still want to keep eating healthy, we're not telling you to eat unhealthy. But some of you, if you're not moving a ton of weight compared to what you normally do, you don't need to eat that much. But when you're moving really high numbers, you absolutely have to. When you're doing several exercises, several workouts, you're going for, numbers you haven't done before. You've got a lot of nervous energy yourself. You absolutely have to be packing, and you have to be constantly just putting stuff in your mouth because you're burning through so much glycogen nonstop. And you don't want to wait for hypoglycemia to set in, as it did with her, and you're like, fuck, I missed that whole lift, or fuck, I missed that throw, or whatever happens in the sun, just literally sitting out in the heat for track. It's going to happen. So that's why I'm giving this warning now. Okay, so this one says, the process of glycogen synthesis synthesis is also supported by other interesting metabolic changes that occur after exercise. During the recovery anabolic window, in contrast to the predominant reliance on carb metabolism seen during a bout of moderate intense exercise, a rate of lipid oxidation, fat burning, is highly accelerated, and carb oxidation, carb burning, is reduced, even under conditions of high carbohydrate feeding. Such a scenario following prolonged aerobic exercise has been shown. So this is the race walkers, a long endurance. You hold on to the carb in order, your body will hold on to the carb because it's like, man, you just did 5 miles, 10 miles, 12 miles, 20 miles. I'm kind of getting used to this. I'll let you burn fat, but I'm not going to let you burn that carb. So it starts to change itself a little bit. High metabolic priority for muscle glycogen resynthesis. Okay, there's one more part I wanted to read. Okay, the primary trigger, so right here is where I am. The primary trigger for glycogen synthesis, refueling, is carb ingestion. So eating protein or even some fat will not trigger the refueling process. So that's why a protein shake can't be no carb. That's fucking stupid. And so it's just bad marketing. It's just complete stupidity. So to have a shake that has 0 carbs in it, it's not doing you any good. You won't even turn on the light switch of refueling when there's no carbs in your shake, or a super low carb shake. They never last long on the market anyway. They're always wiped off because they're of no use. This can be fine-tuned to help refuel or leveraged to create a low or high carb availability training situation in a train low approach, training with low carb availability and low glycogen stores, or a train high approach, aiming for the opposite. Let's see if there's any more in this last thing, because triggers. Okay, when the simple answer is as soon as possible. What is the correct answer? When should you refuel? Within the first 2 hours. So most of you are all having protein shakes right after your workout. You are refueling within those 2 hours. So that's why it's so important to actually have a shake, or you have your carbs or whatever, and you replenish that right after that. Key recovery window that can be used to maximize recovery and delay ingestion of carbs results in a reduced rate of muscle glycogen storage. So then I've had clients that they will not repair. They won't eat after the workout. Don't do anything. They just go home. Then they feel like shit the next day. That feeling like shit is hypoglycemia, in case you didn't know that. So you have got low blood sugar. You're feeling like shit. You missed that 2-hour window. Now your body's got to work so hard to try to bring those carbs back in. It's almost like it's dark out and you turn the lights off and your body's like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing here? I'm missing so much glycogen, and you didn't give it in the 2 hours when there was still sunlight. So then it tries to repair you, and it does a shitty job of it. So that's why that 2-hour window is so important when you're actually lifting heavy or doing intense exercise. Post-exercise period includes everything from immediately post-exercise until 48 hours post-workout, post-intense workout. Don't consider this on just doing cardio. This is not for walking. Walking is straight up to burn fat. You don't go replace that shit from just walking. So this is intense exercise like track workouts and like your actual powerlifting workouts that you're doing. The intensity of that's when you need to, and bodybuilders, that's when you have to focus on replenishing. So that's the importance of that. That's not after every single workout. So that was a big thing I wanted to make sure you understood. The most rapid during the first 5 to 6 hours of recovery. So your body is using up the glycogen that you eat within the first 5 to 6 hours of you eating them, especially after an intense workout. So just know that if you do eat something, just know my body's just tearing right into it because I just powerlifted. I just did track, whatever I did. All right. So that's what I wanted to say on understanding glycogen and glycogen reserves and why they're so important. And if you've got ectomorph metabolism, you're already a more catabolic body type versus an anabolic. Mesomorph is more of an anabolic body type. It holds onto its muscle really well. It can miss workouts and still not lose its muscle. If the ectomorph misses workouts, they just start dropping weight. They'll lose 5 pounds, they'll lose muscle, they'll be like, fuck, I feel weak again, because the ectomorph metabolism, Karen, Dana, ectomorph metabolism is very catabolic genetically. So you have to be so careful. I think also that's why, Karen, you didn't like too much of a high protein or high fat diet, because your body's so catabolic. That just was like, I need glycogen, and you burn through your glycogen so quickly. So trying to give a little bit more explanation to why you got to eat what you have to eat. Don't be haphazard over these next 3 weeks. Do not be haphazard on anything that we're doing, especially on your lifting days. I've got to be very intense with you. So we got to be intense the week of the 12th, the week of the 19th, and we'll do just a little bit of singles testing on Monday or Tuesday, the 26th and 27th and 28th, and then it's over. So really for the next 2 weeks, you got to really make sure your food is perfect. Meaning this type of food, perfect before your workout, so I can push you and see how far you can actually go in the workouts. I notice if I haven't eaten and I try to go out and throw, I'm like, I got nothing. I can't even fucking throw the javelin. So don't think it impacts your track just as much as powerlifting. It's got a huge impact on that. Okay, so now
Also, I don't recommend eating a salad for dinner the night before powerlifting or track. I made that mistake at Indoor Nationals last year, not this past year that we all went and watched, that wouldn't matter, but when I was actually running the 60, thank God I didn't sprint until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But let me tell you, we went out for dinner the night before, had a nice big salad with like shrimp on it, super healthy, super light, thought that was going to be a great idea. And then I think I went to the bathroom about 5 times before all of the lettuce had exited. And you want none of that feeling happening during your sprinting.
there you go. There you go.
So don't do that.
Don't do that. You don't need lettuce.
Learn from my mistakes.
Exactly. You eat plenty of vegetables already. You know, I'm not a big fan of all those lectin fucking things anyway. Have a steak and fucking potato. Okay, so meal plan is carnivore.
Or whatever you normally do, because I don't like to go to bed with a lot of heavy food in my stomach, because that causes
that's another
the
problem.
same issue.
Yeah.
So know your own digestive tract.
Yeah.
Know what works for you.
Yeah.
Don't go off course the night before anything.
Yeah, exactly. Meal plan is carnivore until next Tuesday. The only reason I'm saying until next Tuesday is for those of you that are still trying to make weight, if you've got to get into a weight class. If you are not close to your weight or hit it, or maybe just a tad bit under or whatever, then you're going to have to do 3 days of liquid meals, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in order to see if you can actually break it down. My goal is we can do that the week of the 12th, then we don't have to be panicked the week of the 19th, and definitely not the week of the 26th. Okay, so that is the thing on the meal plan. When it comes to the uniforms, we were wanting to do a new shirt, but ran out of time, no time for it. We've got a new person that's actually making the uniforms, which is awesome, but there's no rushing her. So we'll think about that. We wanted like a real pretty bright blue or something like that. We'll think about that when we got an actual moment to think straight about that. So I just wanted to fill you in on that. So everyone's just wearing the same socks, same black shirts, same singlets, whatever. Some of you have wrist straps that are a little too, either they were not intense enough of wrist strap, which is a real tight fiber, like the black and pink ones. You need to make sure that you get the actual competition IPF wrist straps. It's really tight. It is like a hand holding your wrist bone when you go to bench. So the support is phenomenal. So make sure you get IPF wrist straps if you don't have them, or if your wrist straps are just too loose and too stretched out. That's a useless wrist wrap. Don't even practice in those anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to move into my email. We'll see if you guys can see. I'm going to open up the email that Karen sent me that you guys got sent from the powerlifting organization.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen now with the email pulled up or not?
No.
Thumbs up.
You
Your
can't
screen
see
sharing.
any of
Okay.
that.
No.
Hold on. Your screen sharing is paused. How do I fix it? No,
You
stop
can't
share.
see anybody to ask.
Yeah, I gotta go back. Let me share again. I see their names right there.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. All right, I lost my email. Back to my email. Why does that keep happening? What is that doing?
Did you share the email screen or just your
Yeah.
regular computer screen?
no,
I
I
don't think you
shared
shared
this.
Yeah, exactly,
I
because you
shared
shared the wrong thing a second time.
It keeps going away. So watch, share screen. Oh, there's my
Mail.
There's my mailbox. All right, user error. All right, can you guys see my screen? I'm reading the email.
Yes, we can see it.
Stars and stripes.
Please say something because we can't see
Or a
anything.
thumb up.
We can see it.
We can see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Chris,
Okay,
yes.
thanks, Chris.
Okay, thumbs up works.
You guys can hear me, right? Because I haven't heard anybody talk yet.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound fine.
Well, they would have said something if they couldn't hear you. You just couldn't
Mike?
hear them.
Okay, Mike, can you talk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
there
here.
you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you
I
sound
hear you
fine.
now. Line 2. Okay,
Oh
I
my
gotta
God,
be
you
on
think
line
they
2.
would have let you talk for an hour just
No.
staring at you? They
No.
don't read lips.
Yeah. That is my quality. All right,
God.
Stars and Stripes athletes. Okay, month out from the meet. Quite lengthy email, but please read all of it. Warning, warning. If you do not stay with the bar. Okay, so someone had a question about that. If you don't stay with the bar, if you're squatting, this is only for squatters. If you don't stay with the bar, let's say that you get stuck at the bottom, you cannot dump the bar. You can't let your hands go. You can't let it go. You'll be ejected from the meet. Now, this is NASA's as well, and they say that in the meeting, that even if you feel weak, you still keep your hands on the bar and you still help the spotters get it all the way
Yeah,
up.
they'll
That's
pick
a
you
lot
up.
of weight.
Just let them pick you back up.
Exactly. And so you just work with the spotters. Don't just go dead there. So I'm glad she said that. Extremely unsafe for you as a lifter and the loading teams and the ref. There are still a few of you that have not purchased your USA Powerlifting memberships. So just make sure, if that's you, make sure I don't think any of you, I think you all have your membership. In order to compete that day, you have to have your membership up to date. She's talking about COVID-19 there, of course, blah, blah. Find a session. All right. Breakdown of the session is determined by the weight class distribution of the lifters that are registered for the competition. Weigh-ins will take place in lot number order. So meet day schedule. So the way it works is session 1, registration opens up at 6:30 a.m. You guys are already registered. Equipment checks can be between 7 and 8:30. You don't have to come at 7 a.m. for that. So you can come closer to 8:30 for equipment check. Weigh-ins are between 7 and 8:30. Same time your equipment's being checked. Lifter coach meeting will be at 8:30. So just make sure you have those 2 things done before the actual coach and lifter meeting. And then they begin at 9 a.m. versus 10 or 10:30, which NASA does. I have a feeling this organization is very, very strict and they're going to be very on time. So let's just plan on them being extremely on time. That's session 1. I saw a few of you. I think it's just 1 female and 2 males are in session 2. Registration opens at noon. Your equipment check and your weigh-ins happen between 12 and 1:30. And then you've got a coach and lifter meeting at 1:30. And then the second heat starts at 2:00. And then the cool thing, they're giving the awards right after you're done. That is so cool. So you guys get to get your awards and don't even have to wait the whole day if you don't want to. Cash awards for best lifters will be sent out after drug test results come back negative. And a lot of times with drug testing, they'll do drug testing if you're suspicious, which nobody on our team is suspect. But it's usually urine if that is the case. For those of you that are wondering, the equipment being used at the meet will be, okay, that doesn't matter. Spectator coach fee. All right. We should have shirts available, blah, blah. You must have a singlet, deadlift socks, which are to cover the shins, which we already all have. Sport type shoes and or deadlift slippers, which we already all have. So you don't even think about doing it with no shoes on. If you don't like your deadlift slippers, just wear the flattest pair of shoes you have, like Chuck Taylor's or just a real flat pair. Undergarments, just make sure, not necessarily remember, because we're doing natural, you can't have the compression undergarments, really tight undergarments. Read those rules if you already haven't on your own, please. We're all raw. Everybody is raw completely. And
Wait, Chris, will you bring up what you said when you were looking at what everybody was registered as And what you said about Kim, because I can't remember, but the word raw just triggered it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so if you follow the link, where is it? There's a link to the USA, the flight assignments.
okay, I'll go there. Okay. All right, so
shows-
can you see it? Can you see
guys-
the
Can't see it.
So now you have to
Okay.
reshare that page.
resume share? Let's hit that button.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
man.
it resumed what you were previously sharing.
Yeah, I'm still seeing the email.
Okay, let me try new share. Screen sharing is paused. New share, where's it at? Right here. All right. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so you
So-
got session 1, 27 people.
right. So
Session 2,
from what I
28
could
people.
see, I think all of us are in session 1 for flights A and B, but
Yeah.
it looks like Kim is in, or is she? Yeah, she's in
Flight
flight
D.
D,
Yeah,
which I believe that one, I think she's registered as, what is that, with wraps?
no, she's not. Oh, she's not supposed to be with wraps. Kim's not
Yeah, I
using
know that
wraps.
she's not supposed to be, but I think that's how she's raw with wraps.
That's what Kim's saying.
Yeah, that's what Chris
No,
is saying.
no, Chris is saying that Kim registered raw with wraps.
Oh, okay. Well, Kim, can
Because
you
if you
send
look,
an
she-
email? Kim, can you send an email to that Cynthia lady, the promoter, and tell her you're not doing, wraps are just for your knees. Wraps are not the wrist wraps. They're just for your knees. So tell her you're just doing raw with just your wrist wraps and your belt. And if you're supposed to stay in that category, and then I think your weight class would either be 165 or 148, wherever she was before.
No,
What's her weight class now?
she's 130.
Well, then that's 132 weight class.
Yeah.
Okay, so 132 should not be in this last flight right here. 132 was supposed to be earlier in the day. So just
Yeah, that's-
talk to Cynthia about that and say, am I
And
there
I think
because the register, right?
I think that's all dudes too.
Which it's all heavyweights. It should be more heavyweights now. And you're right. I see all all male names there. Let me see
Yeah,
the second group.
Dylan, she's with Dylan and
Dylan
Mike.
and
Which I
Mike
know-
is there.
I know
don't
she
if
does
this
kick
alley guy,
ass.
if that's a guy or a girl. Yeah, that looks like all guys again right there. So yeah, that doesn't really make sense for her to be down there. It makes me think it's because of that. So just message Cynthia. The only other thing I could think of, I do know she said the maximum that you're allowed to be is 14 per flight, which this is 13 in the top one. So there would be room right there. Yeah, there's definitely room for a person to come up there in that top one, Kim. Unless you want to stay later in the afternoon, completely up to you. So, but you just want to make sure that you tell her
Enter
you're not
correctly.
using knee wraps. Okay, thanks, Chris, for telling us
Okay.
that. So anyway, you can see your name there. So the flights are going A and B. It just looks like it's going to be so organized, and a lot less stress, and it means you're going to be moving even quicker. And that was a big thing that I wanted to make sure that you understood. Since you are going to be moving fast, because it's only 14 people in your flight, you're going to really have to be on top of your food. We're used to having big rest periods, lots of rest, all that kind of stuff. That's not going to be the case this time. So it will move faster. I do remember when I competed with USA Powerlifting, and also when I went with Diane a few years ago. We did have time to warm up every single time. They were very clear, concise. Warm up time 15 minutes, and then you go and you do it. So just make sure that you're on top of that. And we're going to be working in a much shorter window. So that's pretty cool. And especially for the 2-sport athletes that want to take off and go up to Geneva on the lake and spend Saturday night there. Okay, so another thing I wanted to go to, was that it for Chris that we needed from Chris?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, all right. So then I'm gonna share my screen again, and let's go new share. Looks like you guys can see it, but who knows? Can you see my thing here that says scroll to national event of weight class for qualifying totals? Okay, thank you. So what this is also on the USA Powerlifting site. And since we're all raw and we're all masters, it's got it by your weight, your kilos. And then it says, this is what you have to, based on your kilos, this is what you have to do at a regional event, which is what we're doing in order to qualify to even go to a national event. So if you do not get these totals, you don't get to go to a national event. Pretty clear cut. Very similar to USA track and field. You've got to get to a certain, typically you have to get certain points, or you have to get certain first or second place in order to get the ability to go to the national. So this is very concise here. So no wondering, you got your age right in there, and then it'll say what you have to do. When you're between 60 and 69, your raw total only has to be 75 kilos, grand total. So you only have to do 165 pounds, then you immediately get invited over to the national. So that's pretty good. Let's just say like a 40 to 49-year-old, so 75.
So if
65.
you are 30s, you're competing against open.
You're open. So your numbers, yeah. Anyone below 40 is all in the open. Any age below that is all in the open. So 250 times, let's see, a 40-year-old that is in the 75, that's a 165-pound person. So 367.5 times 2.2. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
What are you doing?
367 times 2.2. 808. Okay, I have my math wrong. So this person right here, 165-pound person that is between 50 to 59, your total of your lifts have to equal 808.5 in order to go to a national event. If you don't get it, you just have to keep competing until you get to those totals, and then you can go and actually compete at a national event. That's how clear cut it is. So 808.5. By the way, NASA changed their rules, and they're doing the same thing as well. So now everybody's matching. NASA is matching USA powerlifting across the board now. They're doing the same thing. Can't get national records unless you're at a national meet, and regional meets are just for regional records, and you have to get a certain amount. So that's the news right there. You can find all that info over on their site, so you can see what numbers it takes for you to actually be invited to a national meet. Okay. New organization, new rules, new records. Just make sure you know them all. I already went over that. Did the email. All right. I would say my power sport information is over as of right now. We're going to go and move on to USA track and field athletes. We're going to go over that with them. For those of you, if you're not going to compete from injuries or whatever, and you want to be there, obviously you can see the address, the ticket prices, everything is located over on the AMP Up site under the events page. I noticed on my phone under the events on the AMP Up site, I have to kind of turn my phone like this. Where the fuck is my phone? Anyway, I got to turn my phone like this and scroll in the menu in order for events, which is the last thing to come up in order to hit event. So don't just go like that real fast, because the thing covers up the word event. I turn it that way, and then I scroll, then I can see event to hit it. And then it'll pull up the events if you're on your mobile. Anyway, so cheering crowd, be there, help us. We would really appreciate it if you're not competing in powerlifting. If you come out, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a new organization. I'm super excited to see this gym, which has got big barn doors and garage doors that open up. And he built his own gym, and he built his own basketball court too, hooked to it in Canal Winchester. So that's going to be pretty fun and exciting. I'm still waiting to hear back from the director of the Miss and Mrs. Ohio pageant about having a weekend right after this. So that would be July 7th or 8th. At the 7th is Friday, 8th is Saturday, 9th is Sunday. Want to do it at the Olentangy Brewing Company, which is one of Brittany's clients. And we wanted to end the actual video production that production companies coming to do, filming us and the pageant girls, like en route to a show, what it feels like to actually do a pageant. And we wanted to kind of end it like at a party where all the athletes are together on one of those days during the weekend. So that's the weekend I'm planning, because that's when they're coming in from Michigan. I just don't have a date yet. As soon as I have a date, I will publish it. So we want to do something like that together, which will be fun. So just kind of, if you can put that on your calendar, please put that on your calendar. I will get a date soon from Christy once I know. All right, so now done with powerlifting, got that out of the way. Let's now get that out of the way. And now I'm going to move on to let's talk about USA. We got some chat here. Let me go to this new share real quick. And then let me see what this chat is saying here. Background noise from somebody, kids. Oh, good. Thank you, Cindy, for telling someone. I
No,
booked a
that
hotel-
was Chris when she was talking to us.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah,
Chris
we asked her to
Chris was at a
talk.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris was at a game. That's what those kids were. Okay, so I booked a hotel nearby. Chris said that she booked a hotel. So here's what I found. Just for those of you, if you're feeling like staying in a hotel, I went down multiple different hotels. This Days Inn was the lowest price one. I did notice 20 miles out, and then the prices started coming down here. Within 19 miles, they started between 270 to 290. So the prices are getting really expensive. Geneva on the Lake obviously is a hot place to be. So all those places were really expensive. So I did find this one, so I just left it up. Days Inn by Wyndham, and it's about 18 miles from the venue, which is nothing. You're at least closer. And that was the weekend. And then I did find those 113s prices. So if you're going to do that,
If you like it, if you like camping, you can pitch a tent in my mom's backyard and walk across the street to the Spire.
whoa, that would be so cool for the people that love to camp. All right, anybody who loves to camp, hit Michelle up for shit like that, please. All right, thank you, Michelle. That's awesome. Awesome of you.
Yeah.
What's the chat say? How early do we need to be there? Well, it goes from 9 to 5. We have to be there from 9 to 5, and you can't be there at 9. So we'll probably strolling in about 7:30, 7:45-ish. So we got to leave at 5:30, 5:45. We're going to drive 2 hours. Since we're coaching, we're not as nervous as you guys, so you might want to already be there. Or if you feel fine driving up because you're used to traveling all over, then just drive up, leave at 5:30 in the morning. And then you walk around the whole place and all that and kind of get used to everything.
Make sure we rent a car this time.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. It's
Oh,
not on my
in the
agenda.
back of my car.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
Not on my agenda.
Plan ahead.
Okay.
Please put it on your agenda so we can plan
I was
ahead.
gonna say we have a truck also that if we need to carry javelins for people, we could probably help with that.
That's
The
awesome.
truck
too.
and the minivan. So
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. My next question to you, if you are driving in a truck and I drive in your minivan with equipment and stuff,
there's no air conditioning.
are you gonna do the opposite?
She said there's no
I-
AC.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
no
the-
AC. No, thank you.
Melinda's
No, thank
gonna
you.
do
Yeah, if I get it fixed in time, I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
nope, no, thank you. I can't do that. I'm way too diva for that. Okay, so let me okay, so Karen, I just answered you what time you need to be there. This is a USA Track and Field nationally sanctioned meet. It's not just a regional meet, it's a sanctioned meet. So this one it's a much bigger deal. Obviously, Spires is a really big deal. Normally, the regional ones in this area is called Lake Erie, but this one's actually a USA Track and Field sanctioned meet. So they'll have more photographers, more TV, and obviously it's a lot more fame opportunities because USA Track and Field TV is going to be there filming as well. And a lot of times they're not at some of the smaller regional meets. Must be verified. So Todd said, make sure before I tell you to go register, you must be verified USA Track and Field member first before you enter a competition. So I know how easy it was for me to do it when I registered. I did it all on my laptop, not my phone. Not enough shit on your phone. So make sure you're on your laptop. Who's John Haynes? Can you tell me who John Haynes is? Or who is that? Are you using someone's phone? And I don't know who you are. Oh, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. That's awesome, Rachel. Thank you. So if anybody needs their implements to go in one of these vehicles, that would be wonderful for them. Anyway, so must be verified. So it's called being verified. So they're either gonna, and I had to upload my ID. So when you go into USA Track and Field and you go to membership, you go in there, then you're gonna make a portal for yourself. If you already didn't do it, I'm talking to the people who have not done it, then I'm almost positive you have to upload your ID, then they verify it. And mine was verified like within 48 hours. That process has to be done. So do not wait to the last minute. This shit has to be done this week. First of all, you'll see the penalties for not registering early anyway. So try to get that done this week. Just get your membership part done, get verified. And then once you're verified and they'll give you your membership number, that's the first moment you're allowed to go and register for an event. So you can't even attempt to register for an event till you get your member number and you know that you've been verified.
I'm sorry, where is the link for that?
Okay, so let me go back to share screen. So hold on a moment.
I mean, is this something like you can share that link in a file or a chat?
I'll
the
copy it and put it in
amp-up
the chat. Okay, so right here, this is under, can you see my screen, by the way? Do you see that I'm at the Masters Midwest Region outdoor track?
Yes.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So there's Spires right there, and then there's your address, there's your date and time, 9 to 5, right there, online registration. But you don't want to rush right to online registration before you have your, so see how it says, please join online if you are not a member. So you got to get
Okay.
this step done first.
And that's
So
hyperlink.
hyperlink that. Okay, there's your membership. And let me see if I got to click it one more time. Join current member login. You need to join new. Individual membership. All right, that's how you'll begin. Let me get over to my chat. Okay, there's your link for your membership. So you do your
Oh,
membership.
Kim said repeat that.
What?
Kim said repeat that.
Okay. Okay, so you can't register for the USA Track and Field meet or your events until you're a member. If you already have your membership number and you're already registered, then you can go right in and start to register for the meet. So I'm going to go over to that page where the meet is to go over some of that. Okay, one second. Okay, so everyone, athletes 25 years or older, they're the only ones that are allowed to do masters. Athletes will compete in 5-year age divisions, which that's pretty cool. So every 5 years. All athletes are subject to drug testing. That's just if you look suspect most of the time. Entry deadline is June 25th. No late entries and no same day entries. No one. So you can't enter and pay day of. Entry fees until June 11th, which is this Sunday. You got your first event's $15. It's pretty good. And then any additional events, $10. If you're on a relay team, which we're not doing relays. Entry fees from the 12th to the 25th, 25 for your first event and 15 for each additional event after that. So those are your event fees. So I'm going to tell you what events that Todd has you down for, then you'll know what you need to register for. You will register. So after you're a member, then you go to register for this. And hold on a second, let me see. Okay, so there's the schedule of events as well. It doesn't say the time yet. No, I don't think so.
No, because
Yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah, they have to get all the athletes
They have
in
to get the
person, then they'll do
schedule.
that.
Yeah.
But this has there's no way to throw at this event. There's only hammer. So if you're planning on a way to throw, it doesn't happen at this event. They have hammer throw. And as you can see here, you can see all the different events that are going on at this event right here. So it's very concise, easy to understand, easy for Todd to pick what each person could actually do. Okay, let's see what else. So not everybody actually is ready to actually do a meet. So we have about 3 people that we train virtually. They're not really ready. We got a new guy that Todd really likes that Rhonda referred, and he's going to start doing some one-on-ones with Todd in a couple weeks so he can kind of get caught up to what the rest of the team is doing. Dwayne, he'll probably come in hopefully in the fall. But a lot of you are ready for about 1 event. Some of you could do 2. But I'm going to go over those events, and then I'm going to tell you if you're on the fence, you need to get this number in these next 3 weeks in order to actually compete. Otherwise, it would be a waste. One more thing Todd wanted me to tell you was, it's not that USA Track and Field has, what did he say? Qualifications. It's more, when they say they don't have qualifications, they mean qualifications like you have to have a pro card or anything like that. But the way we're training you guys is to make sure that Amp Up is getting good scores, good points, and make sure that you look good. We don't want you to have a bad experience. So you don't want a bad experience. You don't want to say, oh, I just did it. No, you don't do a meet to practice. You do a meet because you're like, these people are competitive. A lot of you that went to it and actually watch, you see how competitive they are. We don't want you to look bad. We don't want the team to look bad. We want to just make sure that we're able to get points that actually contribute as a team to really get the full enjoyment, the full happiness, the full experience of it. So that's why and if we're like, that form's not good enough yet, or, the throws aren't far enough, why do it when you could be competing against all these different people? and you just don't want to waste that moment. It would be better to go and watch and just support, and then get more inspired and get more focused. That's what we did for 3 years before we even went. So anyway, I'm going to go over, and you need to write this down or type it in your phone. I'm going to tell you what your actual events are that he has you down for as of today. So as of today, when you go to register, first person on the list is Rhonda. You are to register for 400 meter. One thing he wants everyone to know about the 400 meter is a lot of times it's such a hard event. There may not be a ton of males and females. They may combine them. But even though you're running and you could be combined, male and female and different ages, it doesn't matter. You're running your race and they still keep it all by your age. So if there's 80-year-old, a 70-year-old, a 39-year-old, a 44-year-old, and you're all lined up, it's just to keep it efficient. I think some of you saw that when we were watching the races at Spires in March. So anyway,
That takes a certain amount of pressure off.
yeah, exactly. So it just is, you don't even know what ages are beside you. You're just running your race and you're just trying to win for your age category. So it's kind of fun as well, because it's not like everybody's the exact same age, like in the 100. It is all your age, but the 400, it's all kind of speckled. So Rhonda, you got to register for the 400 meter and for the javelin. To be determined this weekend if you're going to do the 100 meter. So he said she needs to be on TBD on 100 meter. Mike, you're doing the hammer, register for the hammer and for the javelin. To be determined shot put, he needs to know what distance you could throw the shot put by this weekend, the furthest distance, because the distance I gave him from the last practice that we did, he said that's not far enough on the shot put. So he needs to see if you can get further. And then if so, you could do shot put as well. So hammer, javelin, and to be determined this weekend. You have to text Todd your distance on shot. Michelle, you for sure. He said you did amazing on your shot put. You're registering for shot put and javelin. Karen, you're registering for 5,000 meter race walk. He said that one almost 100% of the time, that's male and female combined as well, but they're still scoring by your age division. So don't worry if it's male and females walking together, all different ages walk together. You saw that when we were watching that. And you register for the javelin as well. You did an amazing improvement in the month of April to show up for May. It was incredible. So he put you in the javelin. So 5,000 meter race walk for Karen and javelin. Miranda, he's got you shot put, discus, and javelin. He said, Miranda, I just need to know her numbers this weekend. Even though I thought your number was great on javelin, he's like, see if she's a little bit further as of now. For sure shot, for sure discus, and 99% chance on javelin. So you've got 3 events. Gail, we have to test you tomorrow. He's thinking shot put for you and possibly javelin. You'll just use ours. Or I can't remember what age you are. If you're in your 50s, for sure you can use ours. If you're in your 60s, someone in their 60s might let you borrow theirs.
Yeah, 63.
Okay. So I think Karen's in her 60s. You guys could be actually you could use it. So, but you'll use probably mine or Todd's tomorrow to test. Karen, what's that in your 50s, it's 500 grams. In your male 50s, it's 700 grams. What is a 60 female? Is it 400 grams? I think it is.
I think it is. When
Yeah,
I was
think it's
looking at
100
it.
grams less. Yeah. So, and it's always fine. You know, it's just going to weigh less.
Chat.
Okay,
Somebody just
hold on.
popped up.
Go to the chat. And what do we got here?
Karen said yes.
Okay, got you. All right, thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute.
Okay.
Okay.
And she can borrow, absolutely.
What'd she just
She
say?
said she can borrow it.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen.
So obviously, because you guys are females, you'll be all the javelin throwers, females go together. If there's a lot, then they'll break it down by age. Like the nationals, there's so many, it's 100% by your age. But at this regional event, it could just be all females together. It'll just be all of them together. And then you just sit down and wait your turn and all that stuff. So it's very easy to share. We were sharing a lot at the last meet. Okay, so Gail shot put and potentially javelin. He just has to test you tomorrow. Rachel shot put. I put you down, Rachel, for the discus as well. I thought you were phenomenal. He said he's going to determine that and your javelin this weekend. As long as you're consistent, he's looking for consistency on those 2 with you. But I thought your discus was incredible. I liked your form and all that. He said shot for sure, but he has to determine that when he sees you Friday. Dana?
I'm out of town this weekend. Is there any way I can maybe meet with you guys like Monday or Tuesday or anything? I'm
Well,
in New
you're
York.
not going to be at the practice on Sunday?
No, I'm in New York.
Okay, is this Rachel?
Yeah.
Well, then you
Yeah.
practice with Todd on Friday. You tell him at your practice on Friday, I'm not here for practice, so he's gonna clobber your ass Friday then.
I didn't realize I had something Friday, so that's my bad.
No, she's gone Friday also.
Oh,
Just
well,
schedule.
then are you gonna be able to get in Thursday? You gotta get in. Can you
I
get
can
in?
get Thursday. Yeah, I can work that out.
Thursday or next week. She was
Thursday.
asking about Monday, Tuesday.
I can do this week.
Oh, she was talking about
She was asking
doing
about
Monday or Tuesday next week instead of the weekend and instead of your Friday. You have Todd's phone number to text him directly and talk to him directly, Rachel.
I don't.
Okay,
I'll send it.
text it. You have, okay, Brittany's gonna
I got
send it
it.
to you. Talk to him directly. Every day
Okay.
counts right now. Every minute
Okay.
counts. Yeah, so every minute counts. So I would choose Thursday because I'm getting ready
Okay.
to say about watching videos and shit like that too. So you guys, every day counts right now.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so Rachel, shot put for sure, discus and javelin are to be determined. Dana, javelin and 100-meter, he's going to test your high jump when he works you out on Friday as well. He'll obviously do another run through with the 100-meter for you. But you already did great on the javelin. So plan on both of those and potentially high jump, but he just has to see what's possible.
Okay.
Okay, Kim, he's got you down for 100-meter and 200-meter. And he said you're likely be a mixed age division, same gender in the 100-meter if there's not enough people. So just know everyone in your, your 200. That 200 is the one that doesn't usually get a lot of people because that's hard as fuck, just like the 400. So that could be a mixed division, but same gender. 400 is typically mixed genders and mixed ages. 200 is typically
Mixed
ages. So 100 and 200 for you, Kim. Jody, he said you have to get to 14 meters on your javelin in order to actually do javelin, because that's what he wants you to do. But he said she's got to prove 14 meters. So by the end of next week. So you and I discussed that. So that's what you're going to register for, but you got to get to 14 meters. So if you get it this weekend in the next 3 days or whatever, make sure you put some spray paint in the grass and you start those throws and all that, and start working on that. Also, please make sure you guys are watching. And then Brittany's going to be doing the 100, the 400, and the long jump. Okay. Watch videos. So now's the time that we want you actually just, TikTok videos, YouTube shorts, whatever. If you want to look at nationally ranked people, that's okay. I don't spend a lot of time doing that because they've got 25, 26 to 30 years on you. Their form is so perfect. Everything they do is so perfect, but try to look at your own sex. You don't have the testosterone of a dude. Why look at a dude if you're a girl, or vice versa? So try to look at your own sex. Also try to look at your own age. I love watching her age. I love watching the diamond class, and they're just so competitive. And I love so many of the girls in her class, but it does me no good. It does me no good. I watch it, I get inspired by it, but I have to go look at everybody in my age class. So pay attention to your own age class. Watch some videos from actual previous meets or whatever. And then watch just like I said, the YouTube shorts and those kind of things before you go to bed. The best time to watch and to visualize before you go to sleep. Your subconscious doesn't know if that's you or if it's not. And so it starts to believe that's you. And then let's say that I'll just give you my example. So I didn't have my footwork down, and then I would watch footwork videos for javelin before bed. And then I'd watch the guy, and then I'd say to myself, oh my God, my footwork's going so good. My footwork looks so good now. It didn't look good. I just kept saying it. My footwork looks so good. Oh, I like the footwork now. This is so fun. I would say all that and go to sleep on that. So that's where meditation with gratitude and meditation with you're believing that you are this thing before you are this thing. So you already know how to do that. You're all educated. So you just buy into it before it actually happens. And then it happens because the subconscious does not know if that's you or not. So watching the videos before bed. Also, when you're laying in bed, this is where you start doing every single day. You make sure your shoulders are stretched out. and very loose when you go to bed. Get Tiger Balm or get arnica oil on them if they're kind of tight or whatever. Make sure you are doing all kinds of foot exercises, just laying flat. I would do all my footwork, turning my foot this way, turn my foot that way, point my toe, flex my toe back, stretch my quad out, pull my legs up, stretch my hamstrings out every single night, 7 days a week, no days off, starting today. So do all those stretches, watch all that video. Let it be the last thing that goes in your brain before you go to sleep. And as I can attest for myself, but I watched Mike do it. Mike's improvement from April to May was incredible. I was like, you're watching video, dude. I saw videos coming out of Mike. Mike's body was actually acting like he is a seasoned thrower. It was incredible. So I knew he was watching videos. I knew Michelle was watching videos on javelin. Incredible. How much change. He stopped throwing sideways, started throwing more right on. So those videos, that's what visualization means. You're watching someone do it really well. You're buying into it. You're doing it before you go to sleep. I would fall asleep with the shit playing, wake back up, got my headset on, wake back up, watch some more, fall asleep back on it. It worked. So this is the time to do it. So pay attention to all that. Pay attention to how often you need Epsom salt, even if you just soak your feet. I didn't have time to take baths all the time, so I was just soaking my feet every day, 7 days a week. Never, ever, ever did not soak my feet for 10 to 15 minutes with the Epsom salts. You can't overdo your protectiveness as a master's athlete. I'm going to say that again. There's no such thing as overdoing protecting every single muscle, ligament, tendon of your body. Also, the thing about spikes, the thing that hurt me, the thing that hurt Rhonda is just pretty much the first time you go all out in your spikes. That's why we wanted you to all practice in your spikes. Don't mess around with spikes. Now, throwers, if you don't have spikes or don't want to invest in them, you don't have to. Also, runners, if you don't want to invest in spikes, you don't have to either. You can run. People run in regular tennis shoes. Not everybody has spikes. If you're not good at running in spikes, don't try to force yourself to run in spikes. Just run in your fucking running shoes. So, don't box yourself in and then get paranoid and scared and frantic over it. People have all their own rules. They do their own fucking thing when they're there. They're all masters athletes. So if you say, man, my feet feel better, I feel good, I don't have any pain in my ankle when I have this shoe on, this shoe is starting to bug me. If it doesn't heal in the next week, screw it. Be in the shoe that doesn't hurt you. Okay, let's see. Back to the power lifters. What I've done on the app is I loaded all the powerlifting programs is loaded in the app. I'm not going to overload the app this month with the track. I'm just going to type it up in a Word document cleaner than the way Todd did it. I'm going to have your June track stuff that you have to do in a very clean numbered list. So you can print it out and say, all right, I got the app for powerlifting. I got this piece of paper that I'm using for actual track. So I'm going to finish that with him later, and then we'll save it as a PDF and put it in the app, but you just print it out and actually use it that way. I'm not going to duplicate the workouts anymore. It confused too many people. All right, I did that. Uniforms for track. We were going to just use the red uniforms for practice uniforms, but we are out of time again for uniforms for that. So they're going to be your uniform that you wear. Miranda said, just registered for membership and for the meet while you were talking. I just went ahead and added javelin. So I'm in. Okay. Thank you, Miranda. And obviously it must be easy enough that you did it. And you obviously, were you able to register did you get a membership number right away, Miranda? Yes. Oh, wow. Well, you all just saw that. So they gave her a membership number right away so she could go right in and actually register. That's awesome. So obviously they didn't need to do any kind of like a check or something on you. Maybe that check that Todd's talking about was COVID year when you competed. It was so strict that COVID year. Maybe that's why they had to do so many background checks.
Like my birth certificate.
I know. I never had to do any of that. Okay. All right. That was probably because of COVID bullshit. That's weird. Yep. Okay, so uniforms are just the red uniforms. Obviously, will all be in black bottoms, just like at practice. And then your t-shirt, if you want your hoodie, whatever. Another thing I wanted to say, now this happened at the Lake Erie regional last year, is events can overlap other events, okay? So like Brittany would be over in the long jump pit behind what's that school called? An Alliance? Mount Union.
college, yeah.
So at Mount Union, the pit was behind one set of the stadium. And then she would hear them announce they're getting ready for the women's 35.
Not even here. They would have to radio over and say, are you running women's 35 yet?
Yeah.
Okay. How long? Yeah, we got a girl named Brittany Dorsey over here. Okay, she's headed over. Then
Yeah.
it's like a 5-minute walk.
Yeah. So then sometimes the events overlap. So you have to be on your watch. Like, okay, I know Rhonda's going to be fabulous at this. Okay, this is at 9, this is at 10. Well, that's fine. But when they were like really overlapping, they'd have to wait for her. So she'd have to finish something, then run over, do her 100. So yeah, so
And I
that can
ran over,
happen.
and I was like, wait. And Todd was like, they're not going to wait for you. I was like, I'm tying my shoes. Can't run right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I didn't tie them well enough, and my shoes came untied in the middle of the 400.
Oh
I crossed the
God.
finish line with both shoes untied.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so that kind of stuff can happen. Be aware of it. I'm trying to give you as many warnings as possible so you're not shocked and spooked. Also, make sure when it comes to packing, you already heard me talk about glycogen. So chairs, umbrella, an umbrella just for the sun.
One of those thermoses that keeps ice. Like I have like a gallon or half-gallon thermos that keeps shit cold for 24 hours. And so I fill that with ice and then just bring another like gallon of water so you can keep refilling it with ARD and fresh water, and that'll keep it cold the whole day.
Love it. So thermos, chair, umbrella, food, all day long food, rollers, foam roller, pad to lay on the ground. If you got the sew right, like Rachel has, bring that. We laid on that. Towel, jackets, gallon of water, SPF, everything that if you're at your kids' events that are always outside, you got to do the
Did you
same
say
thing, only you need a
umbrellas?
lot more food.
Did you say umbrellas?
I said umbrella, yeah,
Okay.
for the sun. So all of that. So just make sure you're packing for an outdoor event, no matter what the weather, it's going to be rain or shine, it's happening. Okay, I did that.
Also, just FYI, depending on how big the event is, the parking is not super great at Spire, considering how big the space is. Like when Trump spoke there in 2016, and like they had people down the highway. They only have like a few hundred spaces or whatever. It's not enough. So if it's a packed event and you're late, you're gonna regret it.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to think when we were there. Yeah, it had that ability for that valet parking. You could pull right up and jump out and go. Yeah, so you don't want to be late.
Park at my mom's. I'll give you that address too.
Okay. Is she what do you walk out the back of your mom's and you can get over to Spires? Is that for real?
No, she's like, so across from Spires is a McDonald's and a truck stop. Her backyard is in that truck stop.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, and she does have a lot of parking space. She could probably
Okay, that's
park
awesome.
15, 20 cars. So
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay. All right. So I went over everything. Do we have any more questions, people? I gave you your list. I gave you your things. PDF for USA Track and Field athletes with your list of what to do for these next 3 weeks will be on that PDF to print out. Just don't procrastinate one more minute. Not one more minute. If you're endomorph, cardio every day, 70 minutes a day, you just cannot lose weight. As endomorph, you have got to do cardio every single day. And that is not your track and that is not your powerlifting. That's just straight up cardio walking. If you got to make weight or actually drop more weight. Another thing to understand about weight, especially with track, that's why we all join track, is each season you do track, you're going to get leaner and leaner and leaner, and it's going to stay there. So just know that too. So just use this as an event to actually get leaner and just keep getting leaner and leaner, because the less body fat, the easier you move, the more flexible you are, the faster you run, the faster you do shit. Body fat just prohibits so much shit. So you got to feel that and just be, okay, I'm just going to work at getting it off, and I'll get better and better every season that I'm working at this. By your second or third season of doing track and powerlifting, you'll be like, oh man, I got it all. It's all great. It all works smooth. You're not going to lose your strength anymore. Everything's going to feel really smooth. It's just pretty shocking right now as a true sport athlete for the first time. So just know that that's going to go away. All right. Anybody have any questions at all? July 2, Geneva.
Melinda, I'm just going to ask you real quick. I guess it's more specific just for me, but, and we can do it off. How far should we shoot? You were saying that for Jody, how far to shoot for the javelin, like to practice?
Well, your where did my fucking phone? Oh, there it is. There we go.
And we can-
I'm going to tell you what you scored. So your score on your javelin was,
And I can do that offline. I don't
you
want.
did one of your javelins hit 16.9. So that was far. So as a female, you start heading towards 20, you're starting to get towards all-American numbers. 16.9 to 20 is all-American numbers. So you hit 16.9 on one of them.
And that's 16.9. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
Meters. Everything's meters. Everything's yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's meters. So if you mark something in your yard, mark out like 16 and mark out 20 and just keep throwing towards that.
Okay.
And then, another thing about javelin or any throwing thing, we're trying to keep it simple. If you say, the run up or the cross part makes me slow down, makes me not get it as far, then you'll just walk, throw. So you can do 1 or 2 steps and then throw it. So don't worry if you can't get that run. We want you to keep practicing your run and maybe your cross part, and then see if it does get further with that, because the momentum starts to throw it off. But it's a lot of different things in the body that have to get muscle memory in order to do it all together. So if you spend your first meet or 2 and you just say, I do 5 steps and throw, or I do the cross part only and throw, that's what I can do right now. I can't do the run part. It messes me up. Fuck it.
And it doesn't matter. I guess, you always worry about form and that type of thing, but I know you said not to worry about that. Is there a certain form that you have to in the competition? Like, you have to have so many steps, or?
Oh, no.
Is there
And
how
you'll see
do we
people-
foul out?
People will be right at the foul line and just throw. They won't even move. They just
Okay.
stand, and they don't even stand right. They'll stand wrong and they'll just throw it right from the foul line, and
Okay.
they walk away. So no,
Just-
not at all. You just can't go past the
So-
foul line.
So there's only 3 ways. There's only 3 ways to foul, like going over the foul line, going out of bounds, flipping your javelin. There's nothing like physically, like other than stepping over the foul line, that you can do as a human being to foul, I guess.
What are the other things besides stepping over the foul line, Michelle?
Flipping your javelin, or so the other end's too far on the far side, or going outside the wedge.
Okay, so outside of this part where the foul lines are, and flipping your javelin, so you're throwing and it flips in the air.
So the back end lands in front of the front end. That
Oh yeah, that's for sure a foul. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So those are the only ways to foul.
Okay.
That's
Thank
what
you
I'm
for telling
asking
us
you.
that.
No, that's what I was asking.
Oh yeah. So far, that's all I know. I don't know of any other fouls.
Okay.
So all the fouls I've ever watched have been dudes. Very rarely it's ever a female. Maybe one time I saw a female put her foot on the white line. Can't touch the white line. Same thing with sprinting. You can't touch the line. You have to be on this side of the line. You cannot touch the line or be past the line. So I saw men fly their bodies over the foul line. So a lot of guys foul because they're so aggressive, all that testosterone, they go right up to the foul line versus back away. Or if you're just standing put, just taking 1 step and then doing it. So the only girl I saw, she stepped on the line. She didn't even pass it, and she fouled. I never saw girls go outside of bounds though. So that's the only time I saw it.
Okay.
Well, I'll take that back. Bad landings, but those are very evident fouls when the back lands front of the front. Other than that, no other fouls. I've never seen that. On discus, shot put, all those kind of things, they're going to tell you that. Again, it's just all in that V where everything has to go. Can't obviously go over the little line that's there. And then any kind of race, you cannot put your hands over that starting line, and you obviously can't start early. Another thing, if you are racing and someone could actually smack for the go for you, I told some of my clients that smack is better than telling you go, because that smack is going to get your brain used to fight or flight. So you don't go into flight or freeze when that gun shoots off. That's a loud clap for go is a good thing to do, just to kind of get you used to running any kind of racing. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Did I go over everything?
How about practice this Sunday?
Practice
Time.
same place. Well, we've been going over to the Larimer, Olentangy, oh no, not Olentangy, Worthington Way, because something was happening last time. You guys couldn't even get in. So we're gonna have to check and make sure.
That wasn't a Sunday.
I know, but we've been going over there because it's been locked at Thomas Worthington. So gonna have to do an early check at Thomas Worthington. I'm glad that you guys brought that up. If Thomas Worthington is locked, because they had to climb a fence, we're not climbing a fence. We'll go over to that awesome track over off of Larimer, which is right across from the Worthington Police Station on 23. It's actually just right up the road. It's actually a little bit quicker to get to than going all the way to 161 to Thomas. So that is a backup. So someone's gonna have to check it early on Sunday and make sure that the gates are open, that we can actually get into Thomas Worthington at 10:30. Plan on a longer track practice for sure. Bring your food, bring your snacks, bring your water, bring your hat, bring your shades, bring everything you need. But this is our final practice before the meet, so we got to pay attention to every detail you guys are doing on Sunday. Okay. All right, guys.
Great job. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys. All right. We'll see you all.